You have a dog at home, maybe a cat, maybe both. They sleep in your bed, they eat food you bought for them, they have names, they have birthdays, some of them have Instagram accounts. And you have never once stopped to ask, why? Why does an animal that could survive without you choose to stay? Why does a wolf, one of the most efficient killing machines evolution ever produced, look at a human being and feel safe? Because here's the thing nobody tells you about the story of pets. It did not start with humans choosing animals. It started with animals choosing us. Picture yourself standing at the edge of a human camp, roughly 15,000 years ago. The fire is low, the night is cold. Your tribe has eaten well, a deer brought down that afternoon, bones cracked for marrow, scraps scattered at the edge of the firelight. And just beyond the glow, eyes. Not the wide, hungry eyes of a predator sizing you up. Something different, smaller, lower to the ground. A wolf, young, ribs visible beneath matted fur, not attacking, not fleeing, just watching. Nobody in the camp moves, nobody throws a rock, and the wolf does not run. That moment, that single, unremarkable moment at the edge of a fire in prehistoric Europe, was the beginning of every pet that has ever existed. But how? How does a wolf become a dog? How does a wild animal that has spent millions of years avoiding humans suddenly decide that humans are worth trusting? The answer starts with fear. Not all wolves are the same. Some are born with a hair trigger stress response, the snap, the snarl, the flee. But some, a small genetic minority, are born slightly calmer, slightly more curious than afraid. In the wild, this is usually a disadvantage. Curious wolves get too close to humans and die. But near human camps, curious wolves ate better. Think about what a human camp looked like to a scavenging wolf. Bones, fat, cooked meat, calories that required zero hunting, zero risk. All you had to do was wait at a safe distance and let the humans throw their scraps. The bolder wolves moved closer. The ones that could tolerate human proximity without panicking got first access to the scraps. They survived winter better. They had more pups. And those pups inherited that same slightly lower fear gene. Generation by generation, not because any human planned it, not because any human picked up a wolf pup and said, "I am going to domesticate you." The wolves domesticated themselves. Scientists call this self-domestication, and the proof came from an experiment that nobody expected to work. In 1959, a Soviet geneticist named Dmitry Belyaev started breeding silver foxes, not for size, not for fur, only for one trait: tolerance of humans. He selected the calmest foxes each generation and bred them together. Within 40 generations, something extraordinary happened. The foxes started wagging their tails, their ears went floppy, their faces changed shape, shorter snouts, rounder eyes, the features we now call cute. They started seeking human attention, whimpering when left alone, following humans with their eyes the way a dog watches its owner leave the room. Nobody taught them this. The genes that reduce fear also seem to switch on social bonding. Select for calm, and you accidentally select for love. And that is exactly what happened with wolves 15,000 years ago. By 10,000 years ago, something had shifted permanently. The archaeological record starts showing wolf bones buried alongside human bones, not as prey, not as tools, buried together, side by side. In a grave site in northern Israel, researchers found the skeleton of an elderly human, a woman based on bone structure, buried with one hand resting on the skeleton of a puppy. Her fingers were curled around it, as if even in death she did not want to let go. Think about that. 10,000 years ago, before writing, before cities, before religion as we understand it, a human being loved an animal so completely that the people who buried her understood she should not have to leave it behind. So the first pet was not a luxury. It was not a status symbol. It was not entertainment. The first pet was a relationship. And once that door opened, it never closed. Dogs came first. Then, around 10,000 years ago in the Near East, wildcats began appearing near the earliest farming villages. Not because humans caught them, because humans had grain stores. Grain stores attracted rodents. Rodents attracted cats. And cats decided humans were useful. The cats that were least afraid of humans got the best hunting grounds. The humans who tolerated cats had fewer rats destroying their food supply. Both sides benefited. Neither side was fully in charge. Which, if you have ever owned a cat, explains everything. Horses came later, cattle, goats. Each story slightly different, but the pattern always the same. Proximity, mutual benefit, gradual trust, and then at some point, something more than usefulness. Because here is what the archaeological record keeps showing us, over and over, across every culture and every continent. The moment humans and animals began living together, humans started mourning them. Buried with their dogs, carved their faces into stones, named them, grieved them. There is a grave in Germany, 14,000 years old. 2 humans and 2 dogs buried together. The dogs show signs of having been nursed through a serious illness. Someone spent weeks, maybe months, caring for sick animals that could no longer work, could no longer hunt, could no longer do anything useful. They cared for them anyway. That is not survival behavior. That is love. And this is the thing that should stop you completely. We often tell the story of human history as a story of dominance. We conquered nature. We tamed the wild. We bent the animal kingdom to our will. But the story of pets tells a different story entirely. The wolf chose to approach the fire. The cat chose to stay near the village. The horse allowed the first human hand to touch its flank without bolting. At every single step of this 15,000-year relationship, the animal had a choice. And they chose us. Maybe that says something about us worth remembering, that even in our most primitive, brutal, survival-obsessed state, we were worth trusting. That the thing which made humans dangerous, our intelligence, our fire, our ability to change our environment, was also somehow the thing that made us safe to love. You have a dog at home, or a cat, or a rabbit sitting in a cage in the corner of your living room looking at you with those strange, calm eyes. And now you know. They are not there because you chose them. They are there because 15,000 years ago, one cold animal looked at one warm fire and decided to stay.